Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for tuning into the Murfreesboro.com show, the podcast. I'm John Icari, your host, and we have a repeat offender with us today, back for round 2, Miss Sarah Campbell. Thank you for coming back. Appreciate that. And you've actually changed your business name, or you added, because you went by your name last time.
Yeah, I was just going by my name, but now I have Sycamore Health and Mental Health.
That's what it is. Okay, and for those that maybe have missed the first episode, we'll talk a little bit about that real quick. But so you are a board certified mental health coach.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
And then after our first episode, you had kind of an eye-opening experience, I guess it sounded like, when you saw some things going on, and we wanted to address that for round 2, right? But for those that missed the first one, tell us about what you do and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I am a board certified mental health coach and then a certified health coach. So I kind of combine the two together and work with the whole body and mind together. A lot of times there's physical symptoms that are going on with our mental health and vice versa. I work with kids and women and teens. A lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks, depression, ADHD. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you're kind of the like the pre-therapy, like, let's address all this so you don't necessarily have to go to therapy.
It's a really good way of putting it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm a step down. So I do not do any diagnosing. I do not do formal treatment. What I do is a lot of education on how our brains and bodies work, what kind of coping skills help, a lot of just support group work, practical skills, planning for our future, that kind of thing.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, do you specialize in one area versus others, or do you see more people in a certain category? Does that make sense? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So a little bit of different things. It is, women and children and teenagers.
Okay.
The majority of what I see is anxiety, panic attacks, ADHD, focus related issues, and a lot of foster care and adoption.
Okay. I remember last time we talked about that, you saw quite an uptick, it sounded like, after COVID.
Yes.
When COVID hit. And
Yes.
so how's that looking now? Is it subsiding a little bit? Are you seeing a little more? Or?
It's getting better, but I also think that it was really eye-opening for people because there was more of a focus on mental health. And so there's still a lot going on, a lot of awareness that has been brought to it.
Yeah. Okay. So with the people that reached out after the first episode, did you see more anxiety?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Gotcha. I remember you talked about that before. So, so is that primarily what you're seeing now? You said
mostly
more?
anxiety.
Okay.
There's a lot of general anxiety and a lot of panic attacks.
Okay, gotcha. And then now, kind of moving forward, since we brushed on that, you how did you work? You had like a little eye-opening experience, you said, of what kind of going on around here that you didn't realize.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on that for us a little bit?
There's a lot. There's so much going on, and it's just right in our backyard. And I don't think we realize it because people put their smile on and they go on about their day, and a lot of people are embarrassed about it. So we don't know how much people are struggling. I saw a statistic that last year there were almost 150,000 calls to mental health crisis support in Tennessee.
Holy, in Tennessee?
In Tennessee.
Oh, God. I thought you were going to say in the country.
No, just in Tennessee.
Okay.
And then our area is more prevalent for substance use and depression. There's a lot of issues with like our foster care system. So there are a lot of kids that are involved in really traumatic, tough situations, trafficking. There's just so much going on right now.
I got you. Do you think there's a reason, or did you find a reason why? You said we have a little more here in Tennessee than other places. Is that attributed to any reason, you think?
I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a lot of factors that play into it.
Yeah.
I think we just need more resources. We need more awareness to it, and letting people know that it's okay to get help, and it's not it's not a bad thing. It's not anything to be embarrassed of. It's very normal. We all have something with our mental health. No one is perfectly calm and happy all the time. Yeah. That would not be normal.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, that would not be normal.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. No kidding. Yeah, but and I'm kind of jumping forward a little bit on this, but I do want to say, if anybody out there watching and listening is having issues in any of these things that we're talking about, Sarah's information will be in the description of the video. You can reach out to her, go to her website. What is your website, by the way?
It is sycamorehealthandmentalhealth.com.
Okay. Also linked in the description. So you can reach out for your help and get more info and things like
Absolutely.
that. But I do want to touch on kind of the uncomfortable subject sometimes. It depends on, how people look at it. But how you were talking about the sex trafficking.
Yes.
And stuff that you're seeing and running into, and how actual prevalent that is around here. So I'm going to let you take the forum on that one. So
Yeah. It's just in our backyard, and I just don't think we realize how much is going on. We don't realize how much kids are getting trafficked, and just the trauma that they're going through. How many kids are in foster care or in situations where they need extra supports, and they're just living through trauma, and we don't realize it because, like I said earlier, they're putting their face on, they're going to school, they're smiling, they're not talking about it as much, and I don't think it looks the way that we think it does based on movies.
Oh yeah.
So we don't really know how to. We don't know. We just don't realize it, and there's no way to know really unless you're building those relationships with the people and letting them know it's okay to talk about it.
So how does that look like with the kids that you're dealing with and whatnot? Like you said, it's not like the movies.
Right.
So what can people look for as far as signs that they may think somebody's going through something like that?
It's tough. So one thing, like with our kids, stomach aches, so weird physical symptoms. So lots of tummy aches and avoidant type behaviors. They can go opposite directions, so they can either be really reserved into themselves, kind of isolated, or they can be the opposite. They can really try hard to act normal, what they think is normal, and to not show that anything's wrong. More attention seeking type behaviors that you maybe wouldn't expect.
Okay. Now, I just do you think there's a reason why would kids try and hide that? Is it embarrassment, you think, or embarrassment,
not believing that there's help out there or that they are worth help? That's a hard one to realize that people would think that. Children would think that about themselves. It's hard, but they do. And then, we don't know what they've been told. We don't know what they've been told by people around them and threats and things like that too. So just not feeling safe. Not feeling safe.
I got you. And by the way, thank you for talking about this with us. And I'm asking some of these questions on purpose to get that info out. So for those watching and listening. So thank you, by the way. But now, do you see, is it with the sex trafficking stuff and all that, do you see more of like a certain demographic than others, or is there is it more prevalent among wealthy families versus non-wealthy or something like that? Do you see any correlation with things like that?
I'm not directly in that side of it as much.
Okay.
So I see more of the kids with trauma, and then I end up hearing so much about and learning more about that. So I don't have a lot of direct lines, so I wouldn't know that for sure.
I gotcha. Now, after the first episode, when you said people reached out and then all of a sudden this happened, were you getting people reaching out about this?
Not so much this. It was primarily anxiety, panic attacks, just general life stress and managing that.
But it led you to find out about all this?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. How did that come about? What was the turning point where you started to see that and realize that?
I just keep hearing more and more about it. I just keep hearing stories, and just in sessions, I hear things about it, and just keep learning a little bit, little pieces at a time.
Now, you had also, before we started recording, we talked a few things about stats in Tennessee and how prevalent it is here. Can you reiterate on that for us? Because we talked about it off camera for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a bit of an older study, but our area, Murfreesboro, Franklin, Davidson County, it had higher rates of substance use disorder and depression than the average rates for Tennessee and for the entire country for averages.
Dang. Again, I wonder why that is in Tennessee. I I love it here. I like living in Tennessee. I don't know why.
I don't think I wasn't expecting that. I grew up here, and it just seems normal.
Right?
Normal is so subjective, but
it's a little subjective. It's all right.
It just, you wouldn't think it. Most people seem pretty happy, and
I got you. Dang. Okay. So moving forward with all the stuff you're doing, are you going to start doing things a little different, or what is it you want the people watching and listening to know as far as getting help?
Yeah, reach out before it's a problem, before it is impacting your whole life. And it's not as scary as what it sounds. It's not as, especially my kids, they come to me and they think of what they've seen on TV, and that we're just going to be sitting like this and having this very direct conversation and asking all these hard questions, and they're going to have to answer all this. And that's not how it is. It's very comfortable. It's very laid back. It's not a place of judgment. It's private and it's safe, so I'm not going to go and tell everyone about it.
Yeah, of course not.
But I do the one-on-one sessions, and then next year, after the first of the year, I'm going to do some group classes for kids and teenagers to help just educate about this thing.
Where do you do your group classes and stuff?
We're going to do like the first and the last session in person.
Okay.
I haven't figured out exactly where. And then the in-between ones will be virtual because we do have a lot of people that are out of state.
Oh, do you? Okay,
Yes.
I gotcha. Well, there you go. All right, cool. So, something I should have thrown this out in the beginning. So we got your website, but if people want more information about you and, where they can get more information about all the stuff we're talking about, where can they find it?
The website, I also have an Instagram, and it's Sarah Campbell, Sara.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll link that as well. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And feel free to, my phone number is on the website as well, and you can send me a text if you're not ready to call, or if that's more comfortable, or an email. But my website has the majority of the information about how to move forward. My Instagram is more tips and support.
Okay, gotcha. Now I'm curious. It's something I wanted to ask you on a personal level. Like, you're an amazing person for what you're doing, and there's other stuff that you've done that we haven't talked about that make you a more amazing person. Thank you for what you do for all the kids.
Thank you.
But like, how do you do that on a personal level? I could not handle hearing some of the stories, and things, seeing that. I mean, how do you do that? How do you handle it?
Oh, that's a tough question. So a lot of it is because I've been in situations that were hard. So I grew up with a lot of trauma, different kind of trauma. Mine was medical trauma, and my dad was terminally ill my entire life. So I grew up scared, and I grew up with health issues. I had over 20 surgeries by the time I was 21.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of medical trauma. And I had panic attacks for years, like debilitating, embarrassing, terrifying panic attacks. I would just get up in the middle of the classroom crying. Yeah. And no one understood, and back then it wasn't talked about, and so no one really knew what was going on with me. So I've been through those things, and I think just that desire to help other people going through it, to know that they're not alone and they're not crazy and they can get better, it just motivates me. And I think the hope too, that might sound a little cheesy, but I've seen it get better, and so I know it can get better. So even when I'm hearing those horrible stories, I know that they can get better, and I know that they can not only get better, but they can use so much of their story to help other people and to be a better version of themselves too.
Yeah, totally get that. I know on a personal level, don't talk about this very much, so I guess we'll let a cat out of the bag. But there was a time in my life not too long ago where I kind of learned the basement had a subfloor, type scenario, and I had never been one, at least that I didn't know about, to have a panic attack or anything like that. And as an outsider looking in, I've seen people go through that, and I'm like, oh, you can do this. Come on, be mentally tough. You got this sort of thing. But till I experienced that and realized that is brutal. Like, that is absolutely horrible. I mean, there were times I didn't want to get out of bed for hours. I'd sit there and just stare at the ceiling for hours, and going through all the stuff I was going through. But that is really tough to try and do on your own. So again, anybody out there watching, listening, if you're having an issue with any of that stuff, Sarah Campbell right here. Go to your website, hits you up. So, but yeah, I just and then knowing that little kids are going through this sort of stuff, that's tough.
Yes, and a lot of times the parents don't realize it, not because they're not bad or because they're not good parents and they're not aware of their child. That's not it at all.
Yeah.
It's that kids can't always express how they're feeling. They don't know what they're feeling. So, okay, if you think about a panic attack and you think about the symptoms that you have, it feels like your stomach's upset. It feels like you're throwing up. It feels like your head is spinning and your heart's pounding, and they don't know how to put a word to that. They don't even know that that's fear sometimes. They don't know what that is. All they know is I don't feel good. Yeah. Okay. I don't feel good. Or they might just act out. They might just have a behavior because all they feel is like, I'm unsafe right now, and they might associate it with whatever's going on in the moment. Like, I need this candy right now. They may not know and be able to verbalize. So
now, with certain kids of a certain age, do you ever see, like, on parents maybe being, and I don't want to say naive, but more like, oh, they're just being a kid. Like Absolutely. If they act out or they do something and they're going, a little wild or whatever, and it's like, well, maybe there's something else.
Yeah, and so, I've done that with my kids. I mean, it happens. You see things and it seems like a typical behavior, and it takes some time to kind of start associating. Oh, wait, they're doing this at this time every day, or they really seem to be bothered in a little bit different way than when they're just upset. Yeah. Okay. So if are there definitive signs for stuff like that? Or like you said, it's just being a kid, or should parents just pay a little more attention maybe? Or what do you think? Definitely trying to notice patterns. Patterns, okay. That's a big one. So, if they have a tummy ache on the way to school every morning, That might be anxiety.
Okay.
Or before bed, before bed's a big one. You know, a lot of kids are scared of the dark, but it's also a time when the world is kind of shut off and it's quiet, and so their brain can think.
Yeah, their brain gets to them. I
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah.
yeah. So recognizing those patterns, watching for the behaviors to see if they are in correlation with anything, if they're after a certain time.
Yeah.
Again, with like belly aches.
Yeah. Do you see certain symptoms more prevalent with certain, like tummy aches more with anxiety, or health problem A for depression or something like that? Does it make sense? Do you see stuff like that? Or?
So a lot of what I do is like nervous system regulation, and it all goes together. So in a way, certain things are going to trigger more or less physical symptoms, but at the same time, it's causing stress on your body. So over time, it's just causing stress on your body. So it's going to cause a lot of the same things. Depression is more likely to cause things like fatigue and weakness and body aches. Yeah. Anxiety is more likely to cause those stomach aches. Panic attacks, it's going to be shaking, feel like you're going to pass out, trouble breathing.
Okay. What about the acting out part? Is that more of a sign of something else, or is it just kind of all the above?
That could be any of them.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
That could be any of them for sure.
Okay. I gotcha. Because I've seen kids before that were, just having fun doing their thing, like, they're just being a kid. Then you kind of find out later something, it's like, oh, okay. But no idea, I didn't know. So,
yeah.
But okay, I was curious. But, and then I'm curious I want to ask on the parent side of things. Like, do you ever see parents that, like, when they realize what's going on? Because I want to address the parents that if something happens and they find out about it later and they, they didn't know it was going on, do the parents feel guilty, or do they feel?
Absolutely.
Do they? How do you address the parents in a situation like that?
Knowing that they're doing the right thing now.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't their fault. Maybe it was. Sometimes we all make mistakes as parents. I've made plenty. I've upset my kids more than I wish I had.
I guess.
But that's normal. And knowing that, I guess this applies to any situation.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have thoughts, and we're gonna have these hard situations no matter what. And we can choose a helpful thought or an unhelpful thought, and we can choose what we focus on. We can dwell on the guilt. We can dwell on the struggles that our kids have gone through, and we can let that paralyze us.
Yeah.
Or we can choose the helpful thoughts of, wow, this happened, but now I'm going to do the best that I can. We're going to get the help. We're going to see what we can make come out of this. How can we use this to be more resilient?
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So all you parents out there, I've seen that one before too.
Yes.
So I was curious.
Yes.
But, with somebody, again, back on the thoughts, I'm dwelling from my personal experience here, kind of we talked about, because there were thoughts I remember having where, how do I word it? You just kind of want the pain to go away, and then other things would kind of enter your mind, and I go, whoa, what was that? Get that out of your head.
Yeah.
And so thankfully I was able to recognize that and was like, hey, chill out, but for people that have a harder time getting that out of their head, how do you address things like that?
There's a lot of different things. It depends on the person and depends on their situation.
Yeah.
But one is kind of what you did, knowing that this is just a thought, and I get to choose which ones I'm going to focus on. Not all of my thoughts and feelings are reality. They're all valid and they're all important, but they're not all real. They're not all accurate and true. Well, I guess they're real, but they're not all true is what I'm trying to say.
I gotcha. Yeah,
they're not all true, and I don't have to act on every thought. The more we try to force a thought away, just by brutality, no, I'm not going to think this, the bigger it's actually going to get. So trying to just be okay with the thought coming up, but not entertaining it. So this is something I do with the kids, but it actually works for the adults too. Yeah. Thinking of those thoughts as like a little cartoon character is saying them and trying to scare you. Okay. So you notice it. You can sit here, okay, that little part of my brain, you can think that, you can say those things all you want to. That's fine. I hear you. Yeah. But I'm not going to listen to you.
Maybe that's the movie analogy when you get the little devil pops on your shoulder. And
that's
you're like,
a good one.
Hey, you're like, no. Get off.
And one thing I do with like the kids especially is we will like draw out what their little monster in their head looks like. It's their thoughts, but we kind of try to separate it a little bit, and we make him look funny and cute, like he's trying to be scary.
Yeah, I got.
And that sounds juvenile, but it works for the adults too. Just remembering like this is a thought, and it's okay to have that thought, and let's explore maybe where that came from. Yeah. But once you know what is accurate and what is true for you.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder what the pictures look like when people draw 'em?
They're cute.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're really fun.
Not like some demon thought or something.
Well,
like
it is like a scary look. It's typically a scary creature, but
Yeah.
in a funny way. And that's kind of the point of like, because that's what our brain is trying to do. Our brain, back to like the psychology of it, our brain is alerting, saying something is wrong, and it's trying to put us on high alert so that we can react. Think of a bear chasing you. So it's trying to react to that. Think, oh no, we got to get worked up. And so if you kind of learn that that's just your body's alarm, and you don't have to take that for a massive thought. We still have control.
Okay.
And it's different parts of your brain that are activating.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. Because I was just, again, thinking back to my situation when I said I just want the pain to go away. It was more of an emotional response, not like physical pain, but I was like, God, because it's just, and for the record, for those tuning in, that was a long time ago, so I am fine. So, but it's,
You're okay now.
but,
and that right there is a testament to how that's encouraging. That's hopeful. You're okay.
That's why I'm sharing it, because I am fine, and I've, life goes on type thing, and I'm way much better than I was. And this again was a long time ago. So, but yeah, just, I remember those thoughts coming in, and it would trigger a thought in my brain. I go, "What the hell was that?"
And those are terrifying.
Yeah,
those thoughts are terrifying.
I'm like, nope, go away. Yeah. And I remember I would get up and go do something.
Yes.
That would something that would bring joy. And for me, it was like I'd go to the gym a lot, and so.
And that's a good one because you're activating and you're working for the physical side, and kind of the root of how that works is, when our nervous system is triggered, we're in fight or flight. And so our bodies naturally want to fight or run. And so we're getting all this energy. And when we just sit still and we're afraid, that makes it so much worse. So if you're moving and you're up and doing something, you are calming your brain. You're telling it, I did fight, I did run, and now I'm safe. They've actually shown in studies that people can go through the same situation, and some people experience trauma and PTSD and other people do not. Yeah. And a lot of the reason is if they were able to do something about it in the moment. Really? So if they were stuck, if they were sitting, if they were not able to do anything in that moment, they're more likely to experience trauma than if they got to run or fight or be active in the situation.
Okay, yeah, because I actually talked to somebody about it a long time ago.
Really?
And they were saying, literally just move.
Move.
And they're like, even if you're sitting down, and I know this looks dumb, but they were like, move your arms, do something, because it triggers.
Shake it.
Shake it. There you go, yeah. And how it triggers certain hormones in your body and all this. And it's like, you will literally feel better. Just move your arms. Like, get up and move.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. And I remembered that back then. And I remember I would get up and just walk around or something. Or like I said, I would go to the gym or something. But I would always feel astronomically better afterwards, getting that dopamine rush kind of from working out at the gym and stuff. But so there you go, get up, move around, people. There you go. But awesome, that was very insightful. Thank you for sharing all that. So, but I also know you have to go back to work, and so do we. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. But again, all your information is going to be in the description. And right now, forum's yours. You want to throw any message out there to everybody listening, watching, say anything?
Oh. Just know that it can get better. Reach out if you need help. Don't be embarrassed by it. I'm here. There are other people here. Like I said, I've got the classes coming up. That's for our kids. There's also online classes that are available. The link is in my website as well. And that's nervous system regulation. So that can help with really anything, because we're getting to the root of the problem. And then the one-on-ones. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
And thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And finish off with my little testimonial part. It does get better, and people like you help. So thank you for what you do. And there's always somebody out there that, if you're open to reaching out and saying, help me, there's always somebody that will help.
Yes.
Yeah. So that goes a long way. If there weren't certain members of my family, that helped me. So yeah. But so anyways, there you go. All your information, again, is in the description. We'll link over your website. People can get more info and all that good stuff. So thank you again for what you do. It's a wonderful thing. And for everybody watching, we appreciate you tuning in as always, and we'll see you all in the next one.